if there was a God, why did you make Friday Night SmackDown bad? It's like I remember there was weaker episodes of weaker years of Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, back 2011, I felt like no shows were good. They were just recaps of Raw with just a sprinkle of we have a world championship in the brand. Uh, of course, I thought 2006 SmackDown was a bit weak. Uh, there was plenty of weak years of SmackDown. This is just probably the worst because it's just it felt bad. I mean, the only thing that was positive about the show is probably just the Jeff Hardy promo. Even though I find it cringe that you have to call a grown man a bully over your previous mistakes over alcoholism, of course, drug abuse over the last decade, over your wrestling career, and still being booked for top of the line events while Sheamus been in the mid card for the better half of at least 5 years. I mean, I understand the feud. How you still have second chance after second chance. It's just been done before. And it was on SmackDown. Just, God. The the top thing was, of course, just Daniel Bryan treated like AJ's little bitch over just losing the Intercontinental title once, and he didn't even get a rematch on pay-per-view. He just had to just give him the belt, wrap it around his waist, and even give him a congratulations, and then just call him out on being a fighting champion. Do open challenges. Do work rate. Just say that you're a fighting champion. Like, nobody wants to actually bring more prestige to the belt. That's it. We're just gonna hot potato it, or just do these unnecessary matches until like we get one match on SmackDown or pay per view. The Intercontinental title, even though if you change it, I guess that's supposed to give some semblance that you're trying to make a new identity for a belt that already been rectified with a cool white strap and it looks good. The problem was the people holding it. Obviously, people that were holding it were not going to elevate the prestige of the Intercontinental Championship, like The Miz, or, I mean, Miz sort of did. Uh, Biggie Langston, or who else? Shinsuke Nakamura, even though he made a different Intercontinental Championship look prestigious because it was in Japan. I mean, and you make a guy like AJ Styles, that I thought that would be the first belt he would even hold, other than his first singles belt, technically being the WWE Championship in the first place. So that just felt like a downgrade, even though he should constantly be in the main event picture, other than just Braun just going back to his Bray Wyatt feud, even though it's probably going to end the same, just to give some menacing look that Bray Wyatt's scary. And him bringing back the Swamp Colt gimmick made very little sense over his neglection of, noticing that he has the Fiend always to protect him. And obviously that the Fiend is stronger in a different part of him that shows no mercy. And all this bullcrap that we've been getting over a year of, over a year of protecting. Giving him at least a month or something to at least build him up as a strong, top of the line monster heel, and he loses to a 50-year-old Goldberg. And then we just bring him back to the gimmick that couldn't even make his world title reign look legit back in 2017. Yeah, that's a perfect thing, WWE. Do that. Do that. It's more equivalent than Heidenreich coming back and trying to win back Michael Cole's love on SmackDown. And if you guys don't remember what Heidenreich did, you're my best friend. Just at least we opened up with something big. As soon as AJ just brought up that nobody deserves to be Intercontinental Champion, who would else come with except the biggest call up from NXT in probably a while, out of Matt Riddle, a former North American and NXT champion. And I'm bringing this up because somehow they still think winning a developmental championship means you're actually a top guy. Like there's been like the Ascension. They were like the longest reigning tag champs, and guess what? They didn't even win a belt on WWE, and they had two belts. I don't get it. I don't get it. They try to treat NXT like it's such a big deal. Finn Balor's there, and they won. and he won their first Universal Championship. Because that's how much they really value the top guys they signed. Uh, Riddle just when they tried to show it as somehow the announcer tried to display it as an immediate title match because Daniel Bryan remarked that you should be a fighting champion until Styles just said that this guy didn't pay his due yet. He just been called up, so they just went in for an exhibition match and it was getting okay. Good counters into bicycle kicks. We had some great spots off Riddle, and we know this was probably going to be a slow, half-baked match because, of course, if you haven't watched Matt Riddle, the guy goes off, and I think he has the best matches with nearly everybody. Uh, but stuff was about to slow down as soon as Styles thought he was getting ready, except he got into a bit of a fight with Daniel Bryan outside. Riddle as well, but they cut off to that in commercial. And then it ended up with a bicycle knee off a counter. Riddle didn't even beat the crap out of Corbin after touching him. Just pushed him on the side. And shouldn't that count as a DQ? Other than just a punch to the face to an opponent that's not in the match. I don't even know why the wrestlers were in the match. Other than I guess they wanted to watch the rookie take out the heel in his first night, I guess. But Cena came out and pinned Kurt Angle clean. The only respect he got was, I think, was the Undertaker, that was the world champion at the time. That I guess was a major show of respect because it was a grizzled veteran that was obviously still the top guy in the company. Got like jobbers hugging around the top signee, and I feel like they should like make Matt Riddle at least have the personality of like how Rob Van Dam was back when he was on ECW, like a high end, multi layered talent with not that much personality, but shows that he has the cockiness and ability to like back that stuff up and always have like a lot of attitude, but incredibly fun to watch. That's how I feel they should view out Riddle, and I feel like they're probably going to do that in the near future. But it's like it was a fun match. Well, obviously not a lot to show, but this was literally my favorite part of the show because obviously it's always good to see guys that are going to spice up a bit of the show. Of course, we have Jeff Hardy speak on his loss on Backlash against Sheamus, and he said he's trying to turn around his life, and he felt like it's been a long time despite how great his life has been, plenty of matches. But Sheamus was a constant reminder of the things he doesn't like about him. That he remained a reminder that he doesn't like about himself, and he created a negative thinking. Shut up. Just it was like one loss against a guy that disrespected you personally over your personal issues that you have over a decade with. I understand the message, but you take it like we haven't done a storyline like this. It's this half baked that WWE still have to make. They did the same thing with Samoa Joe, same thing with fucking Matt Hardy. They did the same thing with goddamn CM Punk, and they made that last for like 5 months. Why in the hell do you have to make this with Sheamus happen? He had to come around saying that his Irish something with his drinks, and obviously a cheers for Jeff Hardy next week on Smackdown. And if it has to come around to hear this, and like Hardy deserves to be bullied because he has an alcoholic problem, don't you think like? And this is the same thing that added with Sheamus getting doused with piss the last week on SmackDown before Backlash. Then you guys are freaking insane if you think that this storyline is good. You don't. CM Punk did it better. And it was an accusation to keep CM Punk out of this game when he was feuding with Jericho back in 2012. And it was actually one of my favorite feuds of the year. Yes, I know there was also plenty of other funner feuds with CM Punk and Cena, and of course Triple H and Lesnar stuff. But it was like that was personal. It got two of the best talkers in, and they obviously didn't have a match that disappoint. There was obviously bigger matches on the bigger pay-per-views with Jericho and Punk having a street fight, but that was also the return of Lesnar against Cena. and obviously The Rock versus Cena. But that's besides the point. That's just how I felt about this. It's just dumb. It's a half baked storyline that's obviously generic to give some semblance of heat for Sheamus to be still taken seriously, and just a reason to, I guess, have the babyface forcibly be Jeff Hardy. When it's shown he can actually play a compelling heel. If you watch him on TNA, I don't care if you guys didn't watch it. I'm just giving you an example of, because you can literally just watch it on Impact. It's basic, and plus the most likable guy in wrestling history can turn heel, and he can, even if he doesn't do that great of a job. If the fans react, it works. I don't care about this whole half baked feud that you've seen at least more than once. Shorty G pin Mojo Rawley off of roll up over Shorty G still being displayed as he's a short wrestler. Wow, that's original. Oh wow, I'm compelled with like they continue doing this. He had like clean wins coming around Corbin, like doing 50-50 booking, even though Corbin already won the King of the Ring. And then you make him have a squash matches with fucking Sheamus. Excuse my cussing, man, but I obviously do not care. If you're logically make characters have specific spots, or it doesn't make sense and you just want to do 50-50 because you feel like everybody has a reason to be in the show. Why does Shorty G have a reason to be in the show other than just have this forcible underdog gimmick? That's been done better by Rey Mysterio. I don't understand. Other than he's just a great wrestler, he's a fine wrestler. He can great. He can do a great bridging German suplex. I have to care that he has to be called short every time. A jobber like Mojo Rawley that's obviously not gonna win a match even against me. I'm gonna care. I'm being serious. I'm really, why are these men on TV? Are you serious? And yet we fire guys like Ethan Carter III that hasn't even had a chance to even shine, even show up, even in live events. The guy looked depressed, and because you assholes have nothing to do with him, you don't even give him back his previous name that he had since NXT. And he'd been there twice, and he did okay. And he is obviously a belt persona, a charisma, and he's obviously shown to have a main event look. So why is Mojo Rawley and Shorty G still on my scene having a nothing match that went nowhere, that ended with just Shorty G picking up a roll-up finish with a hence to small package? It's off German suplex to clotheslines to lariats to just sucker punches to the face. This match had no reason to even be as long as it did. Sonya Deville interrupted Miz TV over Mandy Rose being technically just disrespected by Miz and Morrison, and not even bringing up their own problems over Morrison costing Miz the WWE Championship. Even though an awkward change of plans to one of them has to be champion, even though that co-champions have existed before out of like late cool. So I don't get it. It's dumb. Hence, it doesn't even bring the dynamic of like a twin god dynamic. If any of you guys ever played Borderlands, but we're not going to go over Borderlands because I would rant over the storyline so bad right now. It just ended up with, of course, Sonya Deville questioning over, why are you getting more TV time as me? Why are you still getting more attention over your fat boyfriend? And all over all of this from you wasting screen time while I'm here working hard. It's a basic storyline, but I just felt like they could have just concluded this in Backlash. They didn't even end up having a match, and I was a bit disappointed. It was like, one of these matches didn't have to happen. The Street Profits and Viking Raiders didn't have to happen for a storyline that's obviously been happening for the last several months by now. And I don't know why they want to continue this going, because they practically have nothing happening in the women's division. We forgot that most of the Naomi, Dana Brooke, and Lacey Evans were even on the women's division by now. But at least this caught headlines with the entire thing being Otis getting the girl. He got the girl. He's keeping the girl, and he now has the world title nearly by the palm of his hands with a briefcase. And they don't even hence that Otis is a problem. And they just ended up with an immediate hit by Sonya Deville after Mandy questioned her. Oh, and slapped the Miz as well. Next up was the Lucha House Party against the New Day for no reason. And then just Nakamura and Cesaro were just watching on the monitor in a basic match. I mean, the best thing was a double stomp, a couple counters, Grand Metalik doing some cool moves that were completely stopped by Kofi Kingston. A cool rush, and there were some good stops to dodge the Trouble in Paradise. It did end off the midnight hour. The match ended as average as it can be for two babyface tag teams. I didn't care because it's like they just pinned the champions just before Backlash, and then you don't have them have the match after the pay-per-view to have a payoff. And they came around after attacking the New Day after the match, hence the relevance of them still being involved as a heel dynamic, even though I thought they were trying to push. They literally had an interview involving, in a moment of bliss involving the Forgotten Sons, and they're completely wiped out of the picture. They weren't even in the number one contender scene anymore after Money in the Bank. Seriously, what happened to them? Did they just forget that they have tag teams? They don't even have them in impromptu feuds. Is Lars Sullivan like fingering one of them or something? Sorry for the graphic saying, but that's what I think is happening backstage in a secluded area with an empty gym. Sasha Banks and Bayley were on commentary during the tag team match. Uh, Ended up with them high-fiving Nikki Cross. There was also the women's backstage that had no goddamn reason to have a camera set except to feel like, where's Nikki? And Dana Brooke came around just always talking shit and she never lets up with any of it. It's like Henson, why is she getting the screen time? She pinned Naomi twice and it didn't build up to much. Tamina completely ignored, like always, like they do with more heavyweight women in the roster. And of course, Lacey Evans is a babyface. Even though they lack any charismatic heels. Like, there's only like two heels on the women's roster. And they're sadly holding all the championships. It's depressing. Oh, God. And then they just went into, as soon as Alexa came for a bit of equal numbers, they just ended up with immediate one-on-one match. It ended with a running Meteora. No one cares about a Nikki Cross match other than they win the FAB to her. It's just boring every time you watch a Nikki Cross match because all she's gonna do is act whaley. It's like, remember when Insanity, like, no one expected the fourth member to be a chick that's incredibly psychotic, crazy, and unpredictable. Now she's just retarded, spastic, loud, and autistic. It's that's literally her character. And if anybody thinks so, just stop looking at pictures of her wearing revealing clothing and just actually get back to reality for a second. The match ended poorly, and it of course ended, with Bayley and Sasha leaving. And no one cared. Nobody else in the women's division gave a crap or even want to show like that they're important. Dana Brooke just complains. Lacey just comes around just speaking the fakest southern accent possible that I just want her to say the N-word already and get it over with. Naomi forgets that she was even a former women's champion, and just nobody shows that there's any legitimacy, even though they were trying to show legitimacy for the women's division for the last 6 years. 5, to hence the name of the Divas Revolution / Women's Revolution / no one gives a crap still. Next up is, of course, Braun Strowman confronting Bray Wyatt after Raw. They teased that they're on SmackDown that, of course, there will be a return of the Firefly Funhouse after an absence after losing to Braun Strowman at Money in the Bank. Bray, Rabbit obviously referenced that Bray was devastated after losing to Braun, bringing up the Black Mask, and trying to probably play, mind games. He's scary. Why, family? So fake scary. Scary. Oh my god. I forgot I can do a good southern accent. Now get back in that ride. It looks like you've seen a ghost, boy. Oh, that's how it feels. It's so dumb because I've seen this gimmick for the last 4 years. And it's never been taken seriously because he always loses. You lose to Braun, you don't be taken seriously. You get a DQ finish in a Hell in a Cell match, you're never going to be taken seriously. And you lose to a 50-year-old Goldberg that couldn't even lift goddamn Undertaker up for a simple jackhammer, you will never be taken seriously. And yet you return the gimmick that has more losses than me in a simple game of cricket. I swear to you, what's wrong with Smackdown? For God's sake, someone please explain this. And you expect people to watch because they return back a gimmick that only won the world title once and held it for, I don't know, a month? And it was like, oh, we must return the Wyatt family because obviously the Fiend isn't getting over. Even though there was hints that they had promised with the Fiend over him literally having different music, having an extremely intimidating look, obviously looking indestructible in his last couple of matches. He no-sells curb stomps, he no-sells all this shit, and he still loses. And what's the best part? Return the gimmick that makes him feel more human and obviously makes him lose more. Smartest idea I've heard in my life. Jesus Christ, make Jack Gallagher a sexually assault woman while you're at it. God damn it, Jack. It's just poor. It's just poor creative ability on the concept of a gimmick that obviously can't even last over a year, or at least two in that case, of even establishing itself as a real character, other than a ripoff of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's it. And then you have no reason to even bring it back up, because other than it's just going to main event or it's bombing. And we have to just scrape back. That I know this is probably going to be a mind game thing, and it's obviously going to fake out to be the Fiend, or probably the BS little match that he did with John Cena back at WrestleMania just a couple of months back. But it's obviously not working, and it's not just getting through anybody's head that probably they tried their best with Braun Strowman. I mean Bray Wyatt. And Strowman should lose the Universal Championship by now, because this is just dumb. Can we just give Miz his second title reign, and we can just get just some people angry, at least some people happy, because at least Miz is actually a legitimate champion that actually treats championships with some prestige. In that aspect, other than treating a world title feud like it's a lower mid-card feud for like the goddamn European Championship. But this is so dumb. This SmackDown was so poor. You can call it a slur for Donald Trump. Yes, Donald Trump treats the word poor like the N word. That's how bad SmackDown was. It's so cringe. I swear to you. As soon as I just saw Bray Wyatt just wearing back the dumb hat and the flower jacket, it's like, I guess, supposed to make a reminder, like the time Bray brought a reminder into Cena that you didn't get me over back 6 years ago, and I still can't, even though I won the world title like 3 years later. I don't get it. It's so dumb. And this is so dumb. Even the way they don't even treat him seriously. As soon as Bray Wyatt wasn't even done with his promo, Braun just cuts him off so he can make his dumbass entrance. Like the only way you can really talk to this guy is on the Titantron on the dumbass small training facility. And they still want to bring this up like they have crowds. Like everybody can hear you. You're in a small arena for training for wrestlers. I don't know, folks. Probably it's my attitude. I don't. If you also had if you also had like a bad take on the show, comment down below if you think that there was any positives you thought about the show. I thought there was like a very few positives to overweight the negatives in this episode of SmackDown. I give this a 3 out of 10. If you guys think differently, please comment down below, like, comment, subscribe. Of course, want to grow this up to a 30, then a 40, then a 50, then a 60, and you know the rest. That's it coming from me. Thanks for watching the DST show.